Hello, brothers. Does America really think Japan will always be its loyal dog? History tells us there are no eternal friends, only eternal interests. When the master grows old, the dog will bite. This video will clarify the truth behind Japan-US relations. Small countries between great powers must play both sides. The Japanese nation has a notable tendency to be opportunistic. Throughout history, it has sought a balance among various powers. From the Meiji Restoration, learning from the West, to joining the Axis powers during World War II, and then becoming America's foothold in Asia after the war. Every turn by Japan was to maximize its own interests. History tells us after bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki and stationing troops in Okinawa, it received the 9th article in its constitution. Can Japan rise again? However, Wall Street elites and Pentagon strategists forgot one thing. Japan is not Germany. Germany tends to be more honest. When it makes mistakes, it acknowledges them. It behaves properly. But Japan is different. It waits, endures, and conceals its strength until the moment is right to strike. The hero admired by the Japanese, Tokugawa Ieyasu, endured all hardships in his youth as a hostage. His wife was taken by another, and he faced betrayal. He did not hold grudges. Instead, he was grateful to those who betrayed him. In the end, this patient underdog unified Japan and became the shogun of all Japan. This is the genetic code of the Japanese nation. In weakness, they bow and scrape, and in strength, they bite back. In 1941, when Japan's combined fleet attacked Pearl Harbor, Japanese diplomat Kichisaburo Nomura was still smiling and shaking hands at the U.S. State Department. He promised to peacefully resolve conflicts and emphasized the friendship between Japan and the U.S. President Roosevelt's statement. This will always be remembered as a disgrace. Behind this was extreme anger at Japan's betrayal. Now, America faces its most severe challenge since World War II. That is the rise of a great power in the East. Russia is defying in the Middle East. Africa is being courted by Beijing. The foundation of America's global hegemony is loosening. And Japan is the first domino in this hegemonic system. If one observes closely, it becomes clear that Japan has been preparing for a post-American era. In 2012, the China-Japan-Korea free trade negotiations began. Japan and China were about to reach a currency swap agreement. This would free the three countries from America's shackles. Their combined GDP would account for 20% of the world. The Japan-China-Korea market would soon be integrated beyond the EU. America became anxious. Immediately, they created a Diaoyu Islands crisis. Even more bizarre was that Japan's finance minister, Jun Izumi, who promoted the China-Japan Free Trade Zone, suddenly committed suicide. The ambassador responsible for negotiations with China, Shinsuke Sugiyama, also died suddenly. The hand behind this is all too clear. After Abe came to power, he implemented Abenomics. He initiated a monetary expansion policy with an annual increase of 600,000 to 700,000 yen. Japan's currency depreciated from 75 to 125 yen to the dollar. This was a significant depreciation. What was the purpose? This was Japan's version of the Plaza Accord retaliation. In the 1980s, America forced the yen to appreciate. This crushed the Japanese economy. Japan lost 2 decades. Now, Abe's counterattack has significantly devalued the yen, regaining export advantages. This move directly caused a soaring trade deficit for the U.S. with Japan. American manufacturing faced another blow. This is truly high. It's really high. On the surface, Japan obediently accepts America's protection, paying protection fees every year. But in reality, Japan has long been preparing for an independent military force. Their maritime self-defense force now surpasses that of the UK and France. They possess quasi-aircraft carriers and are developing anti-ship missiles, aiming to create the strongest military in Asia. More importantly, Japan is closely observing the changes in military power between China and the US. In September 2024, China's Dongfeng 31AG intercontinental missile successfully launched, hitting a target 12,000 kilometers away with an error of less than 100 meters. Meanwhile, the US Minuteman III missile self-destructed mid-air. Russia's Sarmat exploded upon launch. The contrast is stark. Even the rocket forces can't compete. Can America still claim to be a hegemon? That's simply laughable. In December, China's sixth-generation fighter jet debuted. Shinzo Abe saw America's despair. Even the F-22, a fifth-generation aircraft with stealth technology, is falling behind. How far is America from losing air superiority? After Ishiba came to power, he immediately expressed the need to advance a mutually beneficial relationship with China. America became anxious. Japan then faced an impeachment crisis. America clearly demanded that anyone wanting to be prime minister must declare enmity with China. As a result, Ishiba withstood the pressure. Historically, heroes have triumphed. Today, he remained calm. Upon waking, he still occupied the prime minister's position. Recently, Ishiba has directly stated, "It's not easy for America to force Japan into submission." This is clearly a challenge to the Americans. It is truly naive. They believe that over 70 years of military occupation and cultural export has completely changed the genes of the Japanese nation. However, history tells us that no nation can truly be transformed. The samurai spirit of the Japanese people has never disappeared. It has only been temporarily hidden. What is chilling is that Japan has never truly reflected on its history of aggression. The right-wing forces remain extremely powerful. Militaristic thoughts could easily resurface. This dangerous factor has been mistakenly directed by the US against China. But one day, it will also backfire on the US itself. Shinzo Abe's assassination was a clear signal for Japanese politics. The US demands absolute loyalty. Even a slight improvement in relations with China can be dangerous. This extreme control has accelerated Japan's backlash. Abe was already pro-America. In the end, he was still eliminated. What loyalty is left then? Next, an important theory arises. When the US declines to a certain extent, Japan will inevitably turn away from the US. This is not a guess, but the inevitable result based on geopolitics and Japanese characteristics. Think about it. What can the US offer Japan? Is it security? It cannot even protect itself. Economic interests? China has already far surpassed it in this regard. China has completely taken the lead in many fields. In contrast, China, with a supermarket of 1.4 billion people, the world's most complete industrial system, advancing military technology, and close geographical connections with Japan. Now, both political and business circles in Japan are quietly adjusting strategies to prepare for a post-American era. On the surface, they comply. But internally, they are calculating how to cut ties when the final moment arrives. The US will discover that its carefully nurtured Asian star student has been sharpening their knives behind the scenes. And that knife will ultimately point to its heart. This is the ruthlessness of international politics. Reality is the inevitability of history. So, in this great rejuvenation, what should be noted at each stage? Videos will clarify this for everyone. Now, quickly follow for updates. Don't miss any news.